There we were in the woods, scanning the mulchy ground at the base of old trees for the subtle furl of mushroom, indistinguishable from a dead leaf except for a faint, intuitive tickle that told you, wait, look again. Louisa was cranky that day. I'd watched Beau's candle join Chloe's last night after we'd supped on bean stew and drunk a bottle of something Chloe had decided was Malbec. Louisa had headed to the woods earlier that morning without speaking to either of them, just handing over their coffee with blank huffiness before grabbing a sweater and tugging on her mud boots. I'd tagged along, not certain if I was wanted, but desiring the quiet of the forest. "So, do you miss New York, Mac?" Louisa asked me as we stepped into a particularly picturesque clearing, gingerly avoiding the ferns and mayapple that grew on the fringes of sunlight. The birdsong and whisper of leaves were absurdly lovely, almost a parody of pastoral beauty. "Oh, yes, I daydream about the traffic at Union Square." Louisa knew that I had dropped out of grad school, but I had yet to share the rest of my story with her. Of course, I was sure that even a little internet sleuthing would produce some YouTube videos, but I felt protected by our disconnectedness and abysmally poor reception. For the first time in months, I was able to separate myself from what had happened on the millennial experiment. There were distinct echoes with the Homestead, of course, yet I found that I liked that echo. "You know what I mean," Louisa continued. "We small-town girls work hard to get out, get to the big city. Don't you ever feel a little weird to have run straight back here in shame?" I thought I heard something in her tone, an implication that she knew more of my departure from Brooklyn than I had disclosed. The thought brooked a wave of panic. I hedged uncomfortably, not ready to tell my story. I would tell her, tell them all, eventually, but I couldn't just now. I hoped my skittishness didn't show. "Yeah, of course. I can't really help feeling like leaving the city was a type of defeat, you know? My last night there, while I was packing up and getting ready to head home, at upstate, I was singing the Sinatra song. 'If you can make it there, you'll make it anywhere,' I crooned. The reverse implication being, of course, that if you don't make it there..." "Indeed. But isn't that just so much poppycock that we're fed? Like..." She paused and tried, unsuccessfully, to line her words up with Frankie. "If you successfully conform to our values of teleological progress by getting a paid job at a huge corporation, you'll make it anywhere." She shrugged. "And then we're taught to feel shame, to self-enforce this notion of success and internalize it when it doesn't work out. Which, of course, it can't, because there are too many college graduates overqualified for the remaining handful of desirable jobs. Well, we all hope we're the special ones. And then we get labeled the entitlement generation. Like, yeah, I worked my ass off through my adolescence to ace the SAT so I could go $100,000 into debt at an elite institution that I was told from birth was my destiny, and now am I maybe entitled to an entry-level position at the same global corporation that will ensure I have no breathable air by 2050? And maybe healthcare? Pretty please? Well, I'm the idiot who bought into it. I let my parents project their fantasies onto me without ever considering if that was good for the world. Or even what I wanted, I said, crouching down to seize what looked like a morel but turned out to be a ball of dirt. "It wasn't just you." And I think my parents are ashamed to tell people what I'm doing now, as though trying to learn how to feed myself is somehow beneath me, beneath them. "It's fucking ridiculous," she concurred. "At least your parents, or your dad at any rate, believes in what you're doing," I said. I felt I had to point out that she was impossibly privileged to be handed not just a free pass on the generational expectations front, but also the land on which to give her version of the future a whirl. "Ha," she snorted. "Of course he supports me. He would support literally anything I tried, even becoming a Republican. He's symptomatic of the bizarre American parent who believes that their child really is flawless." "Could be worse," I pointed out. "Maybe." But now we have a generation of kids who don't especially want to go work in the salt mines because mommy and daddy said